Alright, let's get back to some D&D without some phone calls, and we're going to wrap this up, bring it to a nice closing point here. So, as we were discussing without railroading you, which is a very big thing that some game masters do. In fact, you know, if we want to legitimize it, if we can get a little bit of a roll.
Alright, a D20?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, cool.
And then you would also have your lovely bard friends that can make the rolls as well.
I got a 1. Not great.
So, Iggy, Tuff, and Blaine, as well as Ibis, because we have 4 big brains, and you're the bronze of the party apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so Iggy's useless, Blaine is useless, and so is Tuff. Ibis will look at it, and just the same way he was, as I was talking to you about the whole setup, he looks at you and goes, "Idiots, go light the candles and lanterns." And he goes, and then he looks at you and goes, "Go try the door."
Okay.
But he whispers it to you because he doesn't think that the answer might be right. He's like, "Can you try the door for me very quickly?"
Sure.
So while those 3 are over there lighting everything, like when you go up to try the door, it doesn't actually open.
No.
You do feel there is some kind of, maybe there's some kind of mechanism or something in place, or maybe some kind of magic, maybe some kind of elements of magic or something that need to be done.
This is some weird wizard shit, my man.
So, if you further had the knowledge religion check, you would know that, as well as like a knowledge history local, that it's not so much wizardry as it is it's a weird correlation between Akhmarian's belief in nature and light. So in some places you don't see temples like this very often. In fact, Ibis would explain this as you know, if you asked him, which I'm sure you would.
Oh yeah.
So he explains to you that in Akhmarian beliefs, that light and nature have a lot to play in common with one another. And he further points out the correlation between 3 of the other holy symbols that you didn't recognize. Which was the hand holding the lightning, which is Hieronymus, which is the god of heroes. He's also known as one of the 3 light bringers. The other one that they make reference to, which was was not the almost cross-shaped implement with all the different colors on it. That is Saint Cuthbert. Saint Cuthbert is not he's one of the newer gods. He's not as old as say Obadiah or Ilana or Nerul. He actually used to be a human, and he became a saint, and then he became a minor god. And somewhere along his transition, he had a lot to do with Akhmarian culture and some of their heroes. And then, like, the 3rd one was Cord, god of strength, which rounds out, like, the 3 light bringers. It has to do with, like, some kind of trinity that they believe that, you know, there are certain numbers, like the 3 light bringers, the nature mother and father, which you see on the other side, which is actually funny because Obadiah and Ilona are not actually, like, you know, put it in, take it out relationship whatsoever, or even known to have conversations with each other that commonly. So it's something very weird. So once all the lanterns and candles and stuff are lit, you see the doors and they come open. And not only does the doors come open, but the inside of the temple lights up. And I need everybody to make a fear horror save. I actually need both of those. Well, you know what? Let's put it as a horror save. So 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I got an 8.
You got an 8 plus your wisdom.
So that's +2. Yeah, that's +2. That's a 10.
Okay, so you hear Ivis swear, and you hear him swear in a language that you don't recognize, and he makes mention of Nerul again, and he also says the name Weejoss. Iggy, Tuff, and Blaine are like they can. You remember when you and Ivis had the kitchen moment? they're having their kitchen moment on the front stoop of this temple with the doors open, and the reason why is when you looked in, the white walls are just painted with this sprays of this dark crimson color across white stone walls, and while the stained glass doesn't really give it off, but it's also like it's caked with dust, and you see that it looks like there's about 8 figures in cleric robes that are displayed in just a very weird way. It's as if you have one of them that is attempting to drive a chair leg through one of them's chest, while the other tries to decapitate the one driving the stake through its heart. Well, it looks like the other figure is trying to drive a sword through them, while somebody's smashing them in the head with a mace. It's like this 8 people long line of just death.
Wow.
And it's just the amount of blood, and it doesn't really seem to make sense as to how these 8 figures are preserved in this horrible just dance of murder, and just the amount of blood and everything. And by the way, those of us that didn't make that save, it's that horrible -2 penalty.
Oh.
So yeah. What you also see is that at that same time, while these bodies are perfectly mummified, you notice that there's flowers in the room that are fresh. You also notice that where there's not there's these altars, and they're associated with each of these altars is like the figures. It's your standard, just like the way your people have like shrines and stuff. These are also shrines to the gods, and sometimes on those shrines, you know how there's holy text that teach like a set of morals or a set of story, or tell the story of that god. So like this is the same thing, and you notice that those pages, for a room that hasn't been open for close to 40-something years, that those pages are very crisp. The book bindings don't look like they've aged at all. In fact, the only things that seem like they have aged and been preserved in like this state of decay is like the bodies, the blood, anything really like that.
Well, what the fuck is going on here, man?
So at this point, when you start looking into it and you're like, oh my god, let me get some knowledge checks from you all, or perception.
I got a 4.
Okay, so oh wow, for once. No, well, I don't know. No. Okay, so Iggy, your favorite, my favorite, everybody's favorite. So Iggy goes, oh man, I know what this is, bro. And like he pulls out a cigar and he lights it up, and like he gets into this whole like Sherlock pose and starts like walking around the room slowly. And then you hear Blaine go, dude, I don't think you should be smoking inside a temple, man. And he goes, no, I got this, man. So, okay. Using my insane knowledge of dark events, I propose to you that this temple has a preservation spell on it.
Alright.
And then the creepy mojo death dance somehow is also being preserved by it.
Alright. So how would we figure out what the fuck it's coming from, or where it's coming from?
I would say that we are at the center of a most profane event.
Alright. So should we run and hide, or are we already screwed?
Ivas looks at him and goes, so, no. In fact, Ivas actually goes as far as to sit down once he hears that word, and he goes, no. Because if we were stuck in the middle of some kind of profane... And then he trails off. He goes, holy fuck.
Uh-oh.
He goes, holy fuck, the dolls? The figures in the mist? Why the fuck are you three idiots hanging out here? They go, it's a cool place to chill. In the middle of a fucking haunted town? So this leads to a good 15 to 20 minutes of everybody yelling at each other.
Oh my god. Y'all, hello.
So they're not
Guys.
paying attention to you,
No,
but thankfully
fucking...
you know, give me a perception check.
I gotta...
What was it? It was a 3.
It was a 3.
So you're so wrapped up in trying to get these 4 to stop arguing that you don't see it until, like, the lights go out.
Uh-oh.
So all of a sudden, as the lights just go, there's this creepy figure in the door. When you turn around, all that you can see is just, like, the outline of a humanoid figure.
Oh, jeez.
And it sees you all, and then it, like, backs away and disappears.
What the fuck was that?
So, you're the only person that saw it when the lights went out.
Y'all, you really need to stop. I just saw something, okay?
So they whirl around on you and then go, fine then.
Why are you getting
What did you see?
There's some, like, figure in the outline of, like, the doors, like, right after the lights went out. It was, like, there, and then it...
So what you would describe this as, we'll get into it a little further. So that figure you saw in the door, it casted a shadow. But you could swear that you could see through it. That you could see its bones through its skin.
Alright.
And that you could see that it had just some kind of unusual purple pinpricks of light through it. And you don't remember it having facial features when you saw it. You know, like the same way like a person standing in shadows, like even with the shadows in back of them, there's still that outward contour of a face where you can see, you know, okay, I'm looking at a person, I'm not looking at, you know, just something. So, when you describe it to them, they all look at you and they go, you know, and in fact, you know, we'll give it up to the dice. So a 4 rocket scientist, a 5, a 2, and 11. As I said, they all look at you and then look at each other and do the whole. But I will give me a d20 roll, and then give me your wisdom bonus to it.
Ooh, I got a 19.
Okay.
Plus 2, so that's 21.
So, with this 21 in your wisdom, your inner barbarian is like fucking screaming at you that you know, and I'm gonna do it in the Conan voice.
Oh, great.
Run! Get out of the temple! Go! What are you waiting for? Go, you fools!
And the second part of it is that you need to find some place to hold up that's not like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like a house, or like a hut, or like just some place that doesn't have a lot of windows that can let you as a group kind of bring everything to a cohesion.
Yeah.
And let you start planning out the next steps, and let us bring it to a drawing point.
Alright, guys, we should get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Don't listen to anything else. Let's fucking go. Okay, we should go.
So they look at you and go where? Leave town, or like
leave this fucking temple, dude.
Okay. They look at you like they want you to lead the way then.
Oh, I'm like going, man.
Okay, so they're gonna follow you. So then
Not running, but power walking.
So from where you're at and what you're looking at, you have a garden in front of you, and you can see its low walls. Off to the left, you can see statues, and you see a low wall, and you see a whole bunch of stone, or rather short things sticking out of the ground. And every so often you see a tree or a small bush.
That's not gonna work. Let's go.
Okay, so as you continue to power walk past, and you realize what's standing in front of you as you're power walking to your left.
There's a building, right?
It's the cemetery.
Ah, shit, let's not go in there.
So, okay. So your next available options is as you're walking around, is all of a sudden you come upon this small clutch of look like single door houses that don't have any walls. They look like they're shacks.
Fuck it, let's go.
Okay, so you just pick a shack at random?
Yep.
You just go into the first shack that you find.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys just go into this first shack. Okay, so you're inside the shack, and it's time to let the big brains in you figure out what you're going to do. So, at this point, you know that the objective of the adventure is to find these papers that are inside the mansion. Because we'll just do this with a piece of paper here. So, now we'll just call this a little bit of our wrap-up. So, there's the papers that you have to find.
Flowers on the grave.
The flowers on the grave.
Carry back anything you can from the house.
Loot it all.
Loot it all.
Okay, which may be a little bit of a challenge. But we're gonna see where this leads us into this town. And every Wednesday that I have off, we'll do one of these gaming sessions. So this session, we met Iggy, we met Blaine, and we met Tough. And we'll just go over everybody's description here in a few seconds. And then we also have Ibis. So Iggy is our one that has like the comb over hair, shaved head, except on top. And we said Blaine was the one that shaved head, and he had those rose-colored sunglasses.
Yeah.
And then, what did we say that Tough looked like?
Was Tough the bald one? That was like... Oh, wait, no. Maybe he was the vanilla ice-haired one.
Oh, that's right. He's vanilla hair. He's vanilla ice. And then...
Like revisiting the 90s with this one?
Oh, yeah. It's you know, you gotta draw what you know. And then Ibis, of course, is, you know, black hair. It's to his shoulders. You know, he has a black goatee that's closely trimmed. And we'll say he has brown eyes. And the one thing that you would notice that is very odd about him is he does have an unusual pale color.
Why are you so pale?
Because where I come from, you do not see the sunlight much. So I do not have a tan.
I mean, you want to cross the line.
I'm not a vampire or anything. You shouldn't worry about it. I'm not going to drink your blood.
I mean,
is what he would tell you.
Mine wouldn't taste that good anyway. So
oh, he looks at you and goes, "Oh, I'm sure you would be like a tasty steak to the vampire, all full of the vegetarian goodness. Yum yum yum, just like a cow." So we have met what we call the three. So we have three bards. So we have the band.
What's their band name?
Let's see. What's their band name? Since every group of bards has to have a name. I think their band name would be the Underdank Express. And then sidebar, they're also known as the Vampires 3. So that's what we have for so far.
Woohoo.
So that is session 1. This has not turned out to be a one-shot adventure. It has turned out to be a now ongoing D&D campaign. Yay! This is how it starts, bitches. Alright, till we see y'all next time.
Yep, see ya.